Kia ora. This is the second of 3 layouts I have created for a workshop for Close to My Heart. What I'm going to show you to start with is the placement of the fast version of this layout, and then I'm going to create the fabulous version with you in this process video. So what you see here is the fun version, so I added a few stars and different embellishments up on that original one. So now I'm just getting out the bits and pieces that I'm going to use to create the fabulous version of this layout. So I've got lots of bits of gold, the die cuts that I'd used on the original plan. I've got the pieces that I've cut based on the consultant workshop. So if you haven't watched the other videos in this wee series, if you want the instructions for the fun as well as the materials list for the fabulous as well, you will need to check in with your consultant. They can access these in their Close to My Heart back office. So now I'm just showing you where the pieces get placed in the original layout. So these photo mats here, there's one big one there on the left which is 6x4 and the rest are all 3x4 photos on there. So this layout actually is based on a pattern in Make It From Your Heart Volume 3, and it's pattern 26, but I have mirrored the left page, so I've sort of flipped it around. So you can see there that would be the basic placement of the pieces, but I'm now bringing out what I'm going to do to this layout to turn it into what I have termed the fabulous version, based on fast, fun and fabulous, which Megan Lawrence coined in our Close to My Heart team. So I'm going to take these pieces off because I'm going to create a bit of a background on here using some different bits and pieces that you'll see shortly. Apologies for the shadow up there, it's gone now, so that's a good thing. So I am using some of the kind of the watercolor effect stamps, and these were in our annual catalogue, which is finishing soon. So if you're keen on getting these, I suggest you get them sooner rather than later. They're called Strokes of an Artist, so look out for those. I love these paint kind of or distress kind of stamps because you've got so many different purposes for them. So I am just stamping this around where I know it's kind of going to peek out behind the photographs and the papers on here, as well as just the corners of the page a little bit. So just placing the different pieces, the stamps along, so it doesn't need to be perfect because these are sort of that smudged painterly effect, but thinking about where the photo frame will sit, the photos will sit, because there's not a lot of point stamping in places where is going to be completely covered up. So thinking too about which is your left page and which is your right page, and where you're going to do the stamping on those to suit. So I am just mixing up the colours here, but I am choosing colours that fit with the beachy kind of tones in my photos. So you could change these colours to suit whatever it is that you are scrapbooking, the images that you're working with. So I am creating a beach layout, which, yeah, so these are sort of ocean-y colours that I'm sort of smudging or just sort of putting in the background there. Cleaning the stamps in between. I picked up one of these stamps and I obviously hadn't cleaned it very well to start with because it sort of had a bit of another colour in it, but it actually adds to the effect in the end anyway, so it's not too much of a problem. But the stamp, I've forgotten the name of it. The cloth that I'm using there is brilliant for cleaning up my stamps. It's made it heaps easier than in the past when I used the wee squirty bottle in the scrubber, which was great, and I do sometimes still use that if I'm doing a deeper clean of the stamps, but most of the time this works really well. So I've added in some blue there as well, just again that oceany kind of, there was quite a bit of sky in these photos as well, so it's bringing in both of those. So you can just see that the placement, while it's considered, it's not precise. So I've now sort of got the backgrounds created a little bit, and I'm bringing out the mixed media matte because I am about to do a bit of splattering. So I have found, while I sometimes use the watercolour paints for splattering, I have found that our shimmer brushes are fabulous for this whole splattering technique. So I'm just going around tapping with my finger underneath, and I have used, I think it was sapphire and gold in here. So the sapphire, just again, it's those ocean skies colours, and the gold, I just wanted a touch of gold in this page. They're sort of treasured moments, winter beach walk. It was sort of our first trip to the beach after we were able to get out of lockdown or a stay home type order here in New Zealand. And the gold just adds a really nice little touch when you go to look at the pages. So you saw that I on the mat I just squeezed a bit out to start with. I find this is a really good way to get the ink flowing, but to also get quite a bit of juice in the splatter. So again, just dipping into where I'd already squirted that out to add that around the edges of the layout. Again, because I know that the photos and stuff will be sitting in the middle, I am working sort of around the edges. So now I've just placed those pieces on top, and you can see how the stamp colours are sneaking out from behind. Now I do matte the photos. However, if you chose to, you can see here that they stand out enough from the background, so you may choose not to matte yours. I had to trim mine down a little bit, as you can see me doing here, so that the matte would peek through a little bit, because I quite like the white frame around each of my photos. So you can see how I've matted this key photograph here, and as I did in layout A when I did the fabulous version of that, I'm also going to put some layers of paper behind this photograph as well. It's my son who joined us for the weekend. My other two children, one was working and one was back up North Island studying and working on her internship. So the fact that he was there with all the grown-ups, or all the old people as he likes to say, was pretty cool. And it was nice to have him there. So playing around with some of the different mix-ins here, I use these also for layout A, the fabulous version. So this mix-in collection's getting a bit of a workout here as well. The colours in this collection do seem to go with just about everything in both collections. So we've also got another collection out at the moment called Summer Vibes, and another one which I think is Happiest Place, and I'm still waiting for that one to arrive. Really looking forward to it. So I've put a bit of the gold sequin trim up the top left, and I'm also going to put some down the bottom right. So now I'm just sticking down the pieces, and these are pretty much as per the fast version that the consultant guide that you can ask your consultant about has on already set up, ready to go. So yep, just sticking down these pieces. Now the double-sided papers again, while I'm using the wood grain, I think I just really loved the wood grain. There was a really nice red plaid or tartan that you could have used in the background there as well. So I am sticking down the photo strip and the Picture My Life card here, which is sort of like a bit of a word find, which I'll circle some words on it soon that fit with the photographs that I'm using. So just thinking carefully about where to place those as I get ready to stick them down. And that first one's always really important because it sets the placement for the rest of them. The photo of my son over to the left there is walking into the layout, and that picture that I've just stuck down there down the bottom is us sort of walking into the centre of the page. Thinking about that when you place photos is quite a good thing to consider, because that gives you a direction and it leads your eye into the photo or into the layout more. So I've stuck sort of a scallop strip of vellum that I roughly cut in down the bottom there, and I'm adding the craft spotty strip down there as well. So in the other layout, in the original layout, I just used part of this and tucked it in under the photos, whereas in this one I sat it like a bit of a shelf, and it connects with the Dotty Craft Picture My Life card, I think it was, up the top left there as well. So now I'm sticking down the die cuts that were also on the original layout and pretty much in similar position, in the fast version that is, and the gold sequin down here. So I'm going to use the Tombow green glue. Please excuse my head as I concentrate on getting it in the right spot, just down the bottom of that zip strip, and then I am adding the sequins onto that. This glue seems to hold just about anything, and it's a little bit thicker, so once things are onto it, it doesn't slip around quite so much as some of the other glues sometimes do. So again, I am sticking this other one. I toy with other places, but then I realise it just needs that balance. So it's sort of that top left and bottom right as a connection point between the two, so it's just not a random strip of something sitting there. That light shows it quite pretty, how the gold just sort of adds to it. So now I've added the title Beach Walk up the top, and I've also added the Picture My Life card down the left, and I'm going to pull out some of these stamps, which is the Modern Typewriter Alphabet. Again, it's one that's in our current annual kind of catalogue, and I don't know if that will be carrying on into the next one. So if this kind of stamp is something that interests you, you need to organise with your consultant to get that soon. It matches nicely with the PML card down to the right there as well, the word find one. So I've just written the words winter, winter beach walk. And this is a change in title from my original set of instructions in the guide, mainly because I ran out of E's. So the E in beach was the last E that I had left. So I've just circled a few of the words that fit with what we were doing there. So even though this PML card was related to the timber, the cabin hunting kind of thing, you can see that the words and the things in it can be used for lots of different environments or lots of different stories that you might want to tell as well. So again, just pulling out these different die cuts and placing them around the page. These are very similar to where I placed them in the fun layout as well. So just little clusters of these in different parts of the different parts of the layout. So here you see me bring out the stickers as well. So you can buy just the papers on their own, or you can buy the papers with the stickers. The stickers are great. Again, you're seeing me use them here for different things other than perhaps the intended, or not the intended, I guess the main idea when you look at this paper collection. So tucking in these different die cut pieces, they add, because they're a chipboardy kind of material, they just add a little bit more dimension and a little bit of interest to it. And because they're that craft kind of stuff, it really connects nicely with outdoors photos. So just wee groups of them in different places and sticking them all down. So now I'm going to add some of the gold glitter gems in different points around it as well. These are just another way to lift and add a little bit of dimension to the page. Looking at it thinking, yep, I'm fairly happy with that, so I'm ready to write my story. And just adding my journaling onto this this card. This PML card was probably one of my favourites in the collection. It had the wood grain, it's got a little heart, and it's got a good bit of space for writing on as well. So thank you for watching this video. I hope that it gives you some more ideas for using the timber collection.